Hey, happy Monday, guys. D's in charge today, so we breaking up the regular flow just a little bit. Let's go ahead and enjoy this while everyone else joins us. 1 second. Here we go.
Yeah, all right, man. More feeling, buddy. Yeah. Friday night, I just got off work. Boss man, he's such a jerk. So after work, I went to his house, ate his wife's pussy and kicked his ass. Eating pussy and kicking ass.
Eating pussy and kicking ass.
Eating pussy and kicking ass.
Eating pussy and kicking ass.
That's what I do. That pussy tastes good. Monday morning I got laid off, so I celebrated with some alcohol. Standing in the unemployment line, I see this young girl's bush and said it's breakfast time. Security guard said you can't do that, so I kicked him in the nuts before I drank a beer. Girl at the counter said, do you want a job? And I said, okay, and then I ate her pussy. Eating pussy and kicking ass.
Eating pussy and kicking ass.
There we go.
Eating pussy and kicking ass.
Eating pussy and kicking ass.
That's what I do. Pussy in the morning, sure. Pussy in the night, yeah. I eat a lot of pussy and then I get into a fight.
That's a good one.
Yeah, all right. Like that good. Thursday night, I was feeling pretty great. I was walking past the honky tonks on Broadway. I see this young girl, she's smiling at me, so I took her back to my place and I paid the fee. Took off the skirt, I knew that something was wrong. Well, there's supposed to be a pussy, this girl had a dong. I was bored, and since I'd paid anyway, I sucked his dick, and then I kicked his ass. Sucking dick, and kicking ass.
Sucking dick, kicking ass.
That's right. Sucking dick, and kicking ass.
Sucking dick, kicking ass.
Eating pussy, sucking
Sounds like the perfect
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Pussy sucking dick, kicking
the
ass.
perfect theme here.
Pussy, sucking dick, and kicking ass.
Eating pussy sucking dick, kicking ass.
God damn it!
I don't want my name on this.
What did I walk into?
Just in time to tell me that I just ruined the episode by playing a YouTube video like that. Okay, cool.
What was that? What was that?
That's the Wheeler Walker Jr. song. I knew one day there'd be a time where I'd have like the first 2 minutes of the show where nobody else was here and I'd have to kill some time. So I had to wait.
And so he just played the song about sucking dick and
Eating pussy, sucking dick, and kicking ass. He says he does the best out of any country music star in San Francisco, probably because he talks about taking it in the ass and sucking dick so much. So but I guess it was fitting for this month too.
Yeah. I mean,
Hey,
you
what's
got to
doing?
celebrate Pride Month. I mean, even freaking Sesame Street is celebrating Pride Month. So
Hey, I just want to show how inclusive I am. So what's up, boys?
nothing much, man. Just chilling out here on vacation. That's why I had to join from my phone because we're doing a little vacationing up here
Oh, everyone
in
else.
Tennessee.
Oh,
Tennessee.
you're the only 10 I see.
Yeah.
Let me be as cliche as possible. So what's been going on, guys? It's good to be back. I wasn't here all last week except for Monday.
According to Corey, it's National Tire Safety Month.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he informed me on that. I hope Corey got the irony of my flag. My pride flag comment. I would assume nobody thinks I would post that seriously. Oh, fuck.
Well, only being here last Monday, you still have a better track record than Clyde. I'm starting to worry that he may have joined Mark in prison because we haven't seen him in a while either.
That's true, man.
Well, I did think that one time that that we were on stream and he got cut off. I thought that his wife was actually trying to murder him, so he might be stuck in the middle of the woods somewhere, in some kind of body bag or buried underneath some tree. Yeah.
Think he finally pissed her off enough that she decided to just go ahead and finish the job. No more light thrashings. She's just done with that.
Yeah, just hide the body now.
Let the goats clean up the evidence. Goats do that, right?
If not, pigs do. I mean,
yeah,
she'd probably like to add some pigs to the farm anyway, so gives her an excuse. She's like, you enjoy the beatings too much. We can't.
Like you think the beatings are going to lead to something like that?
Oh yeah. No. Oh, say for it, blueberry pancakes. It's getting weird in here. It's getting weird in here, Jerry. That's what it is. That's the best safe word ever. It's getting weird in here, Jerry.
What was the one from Euro Trip? Flugenkämpfer?
Oh my god,
that was a good movie, man. I like that one. Oh fuck, I'm gonna have to go rewatch that one.
Didn't they make a sequel to that too?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
if they did, I never. I'd say if they did, I never saw it.
Well, Euro Trip wasn't a sequel to Road Trip, but it was definitely like riding that wave.
A spiritual successor, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was way better than Road Trip, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree.
Here's a fun fact. You made out with your sister, man.
I can't remember what Sean has a little friend named Scott. And he was talking about Scott one day, and I was like, Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me. And the kids were like, what? I was like, oh, we gotta watch Euro Trip. We gotta watch Euro Trip.
You gotta admit it's catchy.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So I saw a post, and there's a lot of ridiculous posts like this on Twitter today. I don't know who made it. It wasn't anybody I'm really familiar with. Just ragging on our boy Dylan. Dylan's terrible. Dylan's the cause of all this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking look, Dylan's a symptom, if anything else. And of course, our theory that Dylan's a fun troll, but I think last time I was on, I was asking, I was like, do the real, the boomer cons, do they get, do they get it, and of course they don't.
They don't get it because if they would see it as a symptom, if they really got it, they would see it as a symptom, and they would realize but I don't know, it's like the boomer way to not think that anything you've ever done has been wrong at all. I don't know. That's literally the boomer everything that we've done since the 60s up until now that we've done right. It's all these millennials and whatever. Like the next generation is
the exact same way we were. You know what I mean? Everything's gonna be a mess. And it's like, news for you, you weren't raised right either.
Well, and the funny part is they didn't even you raise kids, right? Well, why did they turn out bad? Well, it's just this generation. They just suck. It's like, okay, well,
you're the parents, right? It's your fault.
And as Eminem said, as Eminem said in that one song, is like parents who don't parent, you should have been watching him. Apparently, you ain't parents, It's like,
oh yeah, no, blame Maryland.
Yeah.
me and Wayne, we were sitting at this barbecue place at the bar the other day after work, and sitting next to us was a couple older dudes just going off about all this woke stuff, which, fair enough. A lot of it's ridiculous, but it's just so funny listening to them because they're both bikers and they're all tough and cool and da. But the guy's like, oh man, I can't drink this beer. I can't drink that beer. I can't buy these shoes. There's all this stuff I can't do. And I'm sitting there drinking a Bud Light because it was the only thing acceptable to me on draft, and I'm just like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. What the fuck? But the one dude's talking about moving from Daytona to Sarasota. And he's like, man, what's it like over here? Like, what are you allowed to say over here and this and that? Because you're not allowed to say anything. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like me and Wayne just spent all day basically doing an episode of this show, at work with each other, saying the most horrible, offensive things we could to each other. And I'm just like, what the fuck are these pussies telling? What are you allowed to say? I can say whatever the fuck I want. And then on the other side, they're like, to Satan, they're going to stop your freedom of speech. I'm like, I say whatever the fuck I want. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This is crazy. But oh my gosh, it's such a mess. And just hearing these people talk, what pussies, dude? What? And I mean, I think a lot of it is just to have something to complain about because people like to have shit to talk. What else do you talk to a stranger about at the bar who's similar, like-minded, I guess. But so I'm not trying to be too Karen-y about this, but we're just sitting
this is the end result of I remember my granddad and my I call him Papa, but my Papa he what he would do is he was kind of ahead of all this stuff. As soon as McDonald's started donating to some kind of LGBT or whatever thing, he was like, we can't have, McDonald's, so I'm not going to eat McDonald's. And then he kind of went down the line of everything started donating to gay causes or whatever. So he was just like, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to blah, blah. But then there were just a few things where I was still like, oh, you don't realize they still do this too. But I don't know. It was just this weird. It was more of how forward they were about it. If they said hey, we donate to LGBT causes or whatever, then it hit his radar, and then he was just like, I'm done. But I was like, all these companies do it. They all do this kind of stuff. So.
And just like the media, it's 6 companies own everything.
Yeah.
And I think I've talked about this before, but there was this app. I don't know if it still exists. It was called Boycott. And basically you could scan a barcode of an item and it'd bring up their corporate tree. So you could see, the whole chain. And it's Burger King and Marlboro are owned by each other, who's owned by Kraft Macaroni and Cheese. It's fucking crazy. But at any rate, it'll actually tell you in depth all the causes they donate to, what they're for, what they're against kind of thing. And you can even set what you're for or against. So it'll come up so. But the issue I had, right, because this was over 10 years ago. I'm like, all right, I'm going to, shop with my dollar and change things or whatever. And I'm like, okay, every company that's pro guns is anti-pot, right? And then every company that's pro-pot
is anti-gun.
Yeah, and I'm just so you get where it's you can't do anything, dude, because everybody donates, and whether or not obviously the corporations don't believe in shit. You know what I mean? They donate to whatever.
No, they're just playing. They're playing both sides. I mean, even if
sales or whatever. So it's just fuck it. If somebody has a good product and a good service, I'm gonna use it. And if I do see an option, if one of my friends or somebody in the Liberty community has a product or service and I have the chance to support them, I will. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna deprive myself of the shit that I really want in life, because this stupid bullshit. You know what I mean? And it pays to be aware. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? But the big thing you come away with is just they're just pandering to who the fuck ever, and it's I don't know.
Well, it's I absolutely hate Starbucks corporation, their whole the way they run their business, as far as the operations. But I mean, if I'm wanting a coffee and there's a Starbucks nearby, I'm just gonna get a Starbucks. I mean, let's.
It's I want to fucking coffee.
Yeah, it's I want coffee. I don't care about the. I mean, I do think that we should have the ability to because ideally we would have a market that would actually be able to be responsive to people and what they want. What the people actually want, but. There's no way to do it nowadays because we have such a weird economy. I mean, it's it's definitely not like a free market
Is-
economy.
Is
So
it a size thing too? Is it that once a corporation, because I think this happens with anything, a corporation,
yeah.
a government, or whatever, once it gets to a certain size, it becomes a bureaucracy, and it's what's they call the iron law bureaucracy, that once it gets to a certain size, the only point of itself is to keep itself alive, not whatever the
not
mission
to actually
was,
do
it's
the
so
job.
far away.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you have that's why it's like, if possible, that's why I totally like smaller businesses, is because then voting with your dollar goes further, it means more, and you might actually be able to pick a company that does have kind of a philosophy, and kind of wants to stick to it. So
well, I guess it's like that. There was that small like coffee shop or something like that, or cafe, that they said they wanted to like implement like a socialist kind of policy, where it was like, oh, like only pay for what you want and stuff like this, and of course it went under because nobody wanted to pay their fair share for what they didn't want to pay, what the value of the product was. So I mean, yeah, you can see it in a microcosm in that way, like you said, small businesses. But once like I do think once they hit a certain size, like it's just impossible to get past all the bureaucracy and everything.
Mm-hmm. So in like this vein too, like I fully support, if people want to do like an employee-owned business or whatever, like do it, man. And there are a lot of like Johnny Seeds is like one of the biggest seed companies in the country, and they're an employee-owned business. And I think just what that technically means is only employees own stock. I don't know if that technically means like Publix is an employee-owned business too. That's our big grocery store down here, because you have to work there to buy stock. But I mean, if you're gonna do it, it works. Like by all means, do it, man. Like make it work. And of course, you have the terrible, results of like this one, who seems more like a communist coffee shop.
He, I don't know if you read up on the background of this. He considers himself an anarchist, but he is full blown ANCOM. Like it's
this guy Patrick Carroll. Is that what you're talking about?
No. The guy who started the.
Oh, okay. I was talking about that, or the author.
I don't know that anybody at FEE is an ANCOM.
That's why I sounded shocked. I was like, he says he's an anarchist, and what?
The guy who started the commie coffee shop in Toronto. The stuff he talked about was full on ANCOM. Like the ideas and the way that those ideas contradict themselves. Like, man, this guy's got a brain bug of some sort. Like, things aren't firing on all cylinders. Like, obviously this wasn't going to work, but this was like his way of sticking it to the man. He was going to just
run a business into the ground.
Let everybody pay whatever they want. Pay what you want when you want. Like, there's no rules here.
Sorry, he started the coffee shop with a loan from his grandma, so he really had a lot of skill. I don't know if that's true.
A small loan of probably $100,000.
She was just paying what she wanted
instead of $1 million. See, like,
pay it up front.
See, it's not like he's not a rich guy, because he didn't get a small loan of $1 million like Donald Trump. He only got a small loan of $100,000.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure that there are groups of people who could make something like this on a small scale work. You know what I mean? But I don't want to be any part of it.
No.
I mean, it's why some like hippie commune type things work, because on a small enough scale and localized enough, but the trick to that sort of a thing is you have to include people that you trust, people that you know.
It's a community.
Like it's a community, right? It's not like you don't open that shit up to the public. Like
you don't have taker. Well, you don't. Also, like you want the people who are going to also like to both give and take. Like, because if they were gonna just take, then that's where you automatically lose.
It's why Bernie Sanders got kicked out of the commune. Like, they have to be able to trust that you're going to actually,
work. And Bernie couldn't work. So yeah.
This place still functions. It's called Twin Oaks Community. It's in Virginia, I think. The reason that I came upon it was I have this book. Unfortunately, it's not in my room here. It's a gardening book. It's called like Sustainable Market Farming or something.
I thought you were about to say Albion Seed. No, it's gonna be like,
No,
oh, here we
no.
go.
Not yet. But the woman who wrote the book is like the head gardener lady for this place. So they feed like 100 people. They provide like 70% of their food or something on like 2 or 3 acres. As far as the vegetable production goes, anyhow, it's on like 2 or 3 acres. But they have 100 people who live here. Was it 70 adults and 15 kids since 1967. So some of them have, stuck around and seem to be fine. So yeah, Virginia.
I would be willing to bet they're not very, shall we say, open border policy with their community.
From their pictures
Well,
here, it looks
you know,
like
we-
racially they're pretty cool. But yeah, you probably can't just walk up and be like, hey, they're not very cool with razors either. Shocker.
I wonder if they advocate for
Was that
open borders.
surprising?
I hope they advocate for nothing.
Right.
I hope they just advocate for neutrality and leave me the fuck alone.
I find it funny, like the people in Martha's Vineyard are like, oh, open borders, and then like they get the repercussions of the open borders coming to their house, and then they're like, oh no, send them back.
Did we talk about that? New York was like, we don't have room no more. Or we're no longer a sanctuary city.
I think we briefly mentioned it, like about Eric Adams being like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, Eric
ain't
Adams was
gonna
like, this is unsustainable. We're shutting this down. We can't take anymore.
Well, I hate them now.
What does it say?
Well, so the books to incarcerated persons, cool. Indigenous rights, let's talk. Women's marches, LGBTQ activism, hey, at least they didn't go 2L plus I. And then
Less
Black
Canada.
Lives Matter. That's gay.
I wonder how much they actually do with any of that, though. Like, it's probably just
Well,
in the brochure because
Yeah.
those are the
Let's
things
hope.
they're supposed to say, considering that
See-
they're a hippie commune.
See, by large mansions, they're about to go under anyway. So
Yeah,
So
we
I'm
talked.
caught up in reading.
Did we talk about that? The BLM is like losing, not losing. They know where it is, but like losing money
Measure
hand over
armpit
fist.
hair.
Like they ran like a $3 million deficit last year or something. I
we
mean,
need a blood sample, Corey. We need to like determine the whole. We need to test everything.
if BLM keeps losing money the way they have been, once that whole enterprise like completely falls apart and disbands, everybody in charge of that's going to get a job with the government. Like,
Yeah.
to go that far into debt that quickly, somebody at the Fed is going to put them in a leadership position. It's like you know what the fuck you're doing. Get in.
You know how to run a deficit. Oh man, like I just can't believe like that they bought all these mansions and then of course like they're going bankrupt like basically because they can't keep up with it.
It's a smell check.
I'm not making the
Yo,
black
but
people
you're
can't do math joke. That will not be fair.
Oh no.
I'm not trying to start my week out being that racist.
Hey, I know some black dudes who can do some wicked metric to standard conversions on the fly.
Oh, let's see. What do we?
What's up? Maybe you guys can tell me what's this syrup thing going around the Twitter? I've seen a lot of people syrup.
I
maybe even
don't
maple.
know. In one of the group
You guys
chats
seen it
I'm
too?
in,
I've been hearing a lot
Goon.
about it, but
I've always
Just
seen
seen Goon,
references
maybe.
to it.
Okay.
And in one of the group chats I'm in, somebody asked, "What's the syrup thing?" And somebody else said, "If you don't know, you don't want to know." And so that's it. Like if somebody in that group chat says, "If you don't know, you don't want to know," I don't fucking want to know. Like I
don't want to know.
Thank you. I now know everything I need to.
Mute your mic, Trey.
Okay.
My wife said she thought it was something jizz related. Not your mic, your speaker. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry, that was my
okay.
bad.
Yeah,
You don't want the kids to hear us talking about this.
Sorry, I saw it mute, and I'm like, okay, I can say jizz now. And then I was like, oh shit. But I don't know what kind of context she took that from. So I don't know if it does. I mean, it's not. No, pollen would be tree jizz. So I don't know. I don't know what sap would be.
Let's see. I can't figure out how to mute the
just the car. Okay, well, I'll do my best, guys. Sorry, chillins.
Maybe undo your Bluetooth. That way it's not going over the car.
Oh yeah. I can undo the Bluetooth. Yeah.
There you go. Take it off the Bluetooth.
Man, she's better at tech than you.
We made the kids.
Oh, sorry. This is one of the reasons I don't have kids.
Sean, yesterday we were at a theme park and he kept cussing and I had to smack him. I was like, "No, like you're a dipshit." It's like the rule is you don't say it around your parents or you're gonna get smacked. Like that was the rule for me when I was your age. That's the rule for you. I don't care if you say it. Just don't say it around me. I don't want to hear it.
The exception was camping. Camping was dude time, and I was allowed to cuss and, you know, be a little more manly.
Well, it's like you don't, you know, like my rule like definitely would be like I would tell them like I'm gonna tell them that obviously that they can't like cuss around anybody else.
Yeah. Did you guys have like the one parent like who was like cool with cussing? Like we had one parent who was just kind of, he was like a single dad, and I don't think mom was anywhere in the picture, but he was kind of like the cool dad. He wasn't like, not like, I wasn't of the age where we were like old enough to drink and smoke or anything like that. We were still younger, but he was cool because we got to go over there and play video games and eat cookie dough and cuss. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was one of my friend's dads was like trying to like he was gonna take us to Hooters and get us all to take pictures with the Hooters girls. Nice. And like that my parents like found out about it like last minute. Like they were like, "Oh, he's going there." Like, "Oh, you can't you can't go."
What age is that? And what age is it appropriate for a dad to take his son to Hooters?
I mean, I would say like, see, I was like 12 or 13, I think. And then, but I don't know, like it depends. I would probably say 15 or 16 for that. That's what I would
think. It was soap poisoning. I didn't get in much trouble for cussing. I guess when I was younger, in my family, some words like crap were considered bad, so I couldn't say crap, you know, around my parents. I know there was definitely some variation in what was considered curse words too, family to family. You know, like I had friends, you couldn't say fart, you know, like in their house. Their parents would get upset.
My mom still doesn't like when I cuss. She'll listen to an episode of my show from time to time, and I will inevitably get a text message that says, like, "That was really good. I didn't know that stuff. I really wish you'd stop saying fuck so much." It's like, yeah, sorry, Mom. I really don't like it when you cuss.
Never had my mouth washed out with soap.
One time.
Really? Oh, man.
I was little, though. I was probably like 8. So, yeah,
see, I never got that. All I got, I would just get a beating, and then just be like, "No, you don't say that." Like I'd get a good smack on the leg and be like, "No, you don't say that."
See, I'm a terrible example because currently the biggest problem we have with the kids is everybody keeps flipping each other off. So like I'm gonna have to break somebody's finger to make a point, and it's gonna be my son, because he's the worst about it. But
you really want to scare him, you break your own in front of him.
I say he's the worst about it. He's the worst about getting caught doing it. The girls do it just as much as he does, but they're a lot sneakier about it. Like he's just like,
Well, isn't that the lesson here? If you do what you want, just don't get caught.
that's what I'm trying to tell him. I was like, I don't give a shit as long as I don't know. Like what I don't know,
I can't allow it to happen.
Right. What I don't know won't result in me hurting you.
Yep.
Just be smart. That's all I ask. That's asking a lot of him, though. So I mean,
I was gonna say, was he like making straight C's?
You're shooting way high. Like when we took him out of school, he was the only thing he was passing was gym. And I don't know how, because that boy doesn't run for shit. I think it's just if you show up, you get an A in gym. Huh?
I didn't, but gym was first period for me, so I slept. I just made a nest over in the corner like the basketball court and slept.
We had this one kid that like you had to wear gym shorts. Like the gym teacher would not let you participate in your regular shorts or jeans or whatever. Like you had
for more comfortable naps.
You had to bring gym shorts. And if you didn't bring gym shorts, then you got a 0 for the day, and you had to stand at the top of the bleachers up in the corner and just stand there like for the whole period. You didn't get to do anything. You just had to stand up there, which would probably be considered child abuse these days. But making a kid stand up there for an hour,
you're singling them out. That amounts to bullying.
I mean, and it was always the same dude. Like every day, he wouldn't bring gym shorts. It was like, you bring them occasionally. Like, why put yourself through this? Like, you're gonna fail gym because you won't regularly bring gym shorts. Like, just I never understood. Plus, I mean, we're gonna play dodgeball and volleyball and do shit. It's like just I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me.
Such a different world.
Well, no. It's like because some parents complain like, oh well, I can't afford to buy gym shorts to bring little Johnny. That's all of the bad policies are basically from like either just bad administrators or bad parents who just don't want to do anything. And then they basically make it where everybody else suffers because they didn't want to do the right thing for their kid. Like, oh, I can't buy him gym shorts. I'm too poor, because they buy cigarettes all the time. They buy everything else, and then they're too poor to buy gym shorts for their kid. A lot of those policies are like that.
I at least changed into shorts, but then I just went and slept. But again, gym being first period, or personal fitness, it was called. That's just terrible. If it was later in the day, maybe they would have gotten a little more out of me.
Well, you had a heart condition. You had an excuse.
Yeah, well, I did always get to use that to get out of PE, when I wanted to, like selectively, like if it was like really hot or something, I'd be like, oh, I got a heart thing, I'm gonna go sit down. So it always worked. But like, I did have gym teachers be like, well, I need a note from your parent, otherwise run. And I'm like, well, I can't go get one now. You'd rather be collapse and die? Here's where it came to bite me in the ass, though, was the next year, my driver's ed class was that same gym teacher, and I'm convinced he failed me in driver's ed because I slept every day at his gym class. So that's where it really came to bite me in the ass. I had to go take my driver's test again at the DMV.
Did he happen to be a football coach or something too?
Oh yeah, he was Coach Black. Yep.
Like if he didn't like you, that's how you fail the driver's test. But like luckily, like
so that's universal, huh? The driver's ed teacher's a coach.
We didn't have driver's ed, which granted, my wife and everybody make fun of me because the size of the school that I went to. Like, I graduated with a class of 50, and we were the biggest class in the school. Like, so I went to a very small school. It's actually the second or third smallest school in the state of Kentucky. And the other smallest school is in the same county. Like, the smallest school in the state is in the same county. Like, so, not a big county either. But we didn't have driver's ed. You just, like, when it was time to, when you turned 15, you could go get your like driver's manual and stuff at the courthouse, and then you got to study on that for 6 months, and then at like 15 and a half, you could go take your permit test, and then
Oh, that's weird.
and then you got to drive for they've changed it since then, but at 15 and a half, you could go take your permit test, and then you got to drive for 6 months on a permit, with an adult in a car or whatever. And then on your like when you turn 16, then you could go get your, go take the test and get your actual license. So the permit was the written test, and then the actual license test was the driving test. And that was it. Like, that was the whole process. Well, I got lucky. When I went to take the written test, the guy who normally did the test was out for some reason that day. And so there was a state trooper in the county who came and administered the test whenever that guy was out. And he was a close friend of the family. So he was the one that gave me my written test. So I passed that easily. And then whenever I went to do my driving test, he was the one that it was the same deal. The guy who normally did it was out for some reason, and so he was there again. So he did my actual driving test, and I passed that with flying colors as well.
See, I thought you were going to say that out in the sticks, you don't need driver's ed because you just go learn on the roads.
I mean, more or less.
I just took it because I figured it'd be an easy A. First off, I liked driving. And then B, the other thing with it was like, you could, if you like passed, you could take like your driver's test there basically. So you wouldn't have to go to the DMV and take your actual driver's test. So that was like the other perk of taking it. I was probably the only person in the class. Like, I read the textbook because it was again, Coach Black. He didn't teach anything. You know what I mean? He just sat there and read, and that was basically the dick off class. But like, I read the whole textbook just because like I like driving and I like cars, and I probably learned, I'm probably the only person who actually learned anything about driving in that class. They take us out if we had our learner's permits. They take us out to drive, for a period too, sometimes. But yeah, it just seemed like an easy A to me. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, we got to do our like driving test with that coach that was my driver's ed teacher, and then we also got to. Like he also got us to where we could get our boating license, which I thought was cool. Like, I thought that was cool to be able to go ahead and get my boating license along. He just said, hey, like I do this, like you do this test, and he basically, I think he even let us do the test open book. So like we had the book there, we did the boating test open book, and of course everyone was cheating off of each other, so everybody got the right answers.
Or the wrong answers. But everybody had the same. We did that in marine biology. They had us get our boater's card. I already had mine because I boated. But it was funny because you go down to the courthouse to get the book for it. And yeah, the test, which you would take, fill in the bubbles, and mail into the state. The test was in the book with the info. So inevitably, the test was always open book when you just do it for the state. Now, when my dad made me do it, when I was like, I don't know, in middle school or whatever, because I had a boat and he was going to start letting me take it out on my own, he ripped the fucking test out of the book and said, read the book, and then gave me the test, like, after I read the book without the book. Like, he made me do it like the real way, not open book, which was funny.
See, that's always what happens. Like, if you're the one person that gets caught, like, then that you get punished, even though everybody else like was doing the same thing.
I've had a couple instances of getting caught cheating. When I was in 4th grade, I didn't realize I was cheating. They said, test over, hand your papers to the front. I start handing my paper to the front. Dude behind me goes, hey, man, what'd you get on whatever? And I'm like, test is over. I thought he was just asking. And I tell him. And I guess he wrote the answer down. And I didn't see him. He was sitting behind me. But fucking Bridget Purcell sitting next to me. Sorry, I haven't seen this girl in like 30 years. I'm sorry. Just call her name out like that. Fucking
you,
sitting
Bridget.
next to me. God damn you. Her last name is probably different. Sitting next to me, went and told the teacher, and then I got in trouble for cheating. I was like, I wasn't cheating. Like, what the fuck? I didn't even know he wrote the answer down. I was so pissed. And then in middle school, a bunch of us copied off this one girl, and we all got called to a meeting, and like all 7 of us were just sitting there, and she's like, so you want to tell us what's up? And we're all like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we all didn't know exactly why we were there.
My junior year, we did the only time I really like legitimately cheated. My junior year, we had a term paper in English on like a different topics. You could pick a topic, and mine was on private schools and voucher systems, or like the school voucher programs and stuff. Because it was getting talked about a lot back then, but it wasn't really a big thing, and so I was doing all the research and stuff, and I had everything that I really needed. And then I just happened to like come across a paper that somebody had done that more or less said everything that I was saying anyway. So I might have plagiarized like 85% of it. I still got a B on it. I mean, we had to do you had to like actually present your case and present your paper and everything. And the great thing about doing a presentation in a high school class is that everybody's supposed to like listen to your presentation and then ask you questions about it, and inevitably nobody ever asks any questions. They all just sit there and stare at you blank faced, especially if you're talking about something like school vouchers and stuff like that. Like nobody's listening to anything I said. When I got done, I was like, all right, anybody got any questions? And everybody's like staring at me like I've been standing up here speaking Chinese for the last 30 minutes. Cool. My teacher didn't even ask any questions. I must have really stumped everybody. Come to think,
we didn't really do anything like that in school for me. Like it was, I did have to, whenever I went to Boise State, we had this mock, like because they kind of teach you some of the ins and outs of like of government systems, and so like part of it was we were debating like new abortion laws or whatever, and so I was on. I think I actually had to advocate for the pro like abortion side or whatever, pro-choice side, and because they like put me on that side, and it was just interesting how having to like, okay, well, like, you know, I was having to basically like negotiate with the other person, like, you know, in real time, like, hey, you know, what if we just only do, you know, this much or whatever. It was kind of interesting that way because it was a lot of back and forth.
I had it was an 8 a.m. English comp class in college, and instead of like teaching you how to write, the professor, the way he did it was when you got to class, he would write like a bunch of different topics up on the board, and then he would just call somebody out or somebody in the class and be like, all right, pick a topic and tell me what your stance on it is. And then they would tell him what they thought about that. And then he would start grilling them, or he would take the opposite side of the argument and try to get a back and forth going. And again, it's a 8 a.m. college freshman class, so nobody would ever talk. And it would usually the class was me and him arguing, which was so much fun because he would just take the opposite position of whatever you had and formulate an argument and stuff, and to get you to think, because like the way he had us write all of our papers and stuff was you have to make a statement of, this is what the topic is, this is what I believe, and this is why I believe it, and provide sources and stuff to back that. But then also you have to take the other side of it and say, okay, this is the other side of the argument, and this is the problems with, or the fallacies in that side of it. Like you have to understand both sides of the argument to make a compelling case for your own side. And that was something that he always like really drilled into us, and that was the purpose of the back and forth, even though nobody else really participated in it except for me. But it's also why now I read a bunch of stuff that I don't agree with, because I need to understand what the other side of the argument is and why they believe that. And it really helped me kind of craft a lot of the way I approach my positions on stuff in life.
Oh yeah, I mean, you gotta, because you have to. Even people you disagree with, like, viscerally, or like, a lot, like, you got to try to understand like where they're coming from, because if nothing else, if you're trying to convince them to, you know, otherwise or whatever, you have to understand their argument usually. And it, you know, I think it's important. I think that's part of being, you know, well-rounded and smart. And then again, how could you ever hope to improve your ideas, you know, and change if you're not willing to at least listen to, even if you totally disagree, well, because usually you'll come out, you know, even not taking their side, you'll come out being wiser and maybe even adjusting your viewpoint a little bit after learning about someone else's, what have you. You guys want to see, we're on the topic of schools. Let's see. This happened. Did you guys see this video? You might have. I have to assume shit like this goes like nationwide. Let's see.
It looks like a scene straight from the Everglades. But this is in Jacksonville off Moncrief Road. And that Florida man,
do not try this at home,
is Mike Dragich. Yes, he is a licensed trapper.
I love
in front of all those people, dude. It's crazy.
I felt like Batman. I was there. These people were scared to death of this alligator.
Got the call Sunday night about a nuisance gator and showed up to a crowd of neighbors alongside police and firefighters. Those first responders ended up helping out. It looks like you're playing with the gator.
To me, it's play. I love doing it, man. There's nothing that gets the juices flowing and the adrenaline pumping quite like messing with a big alligator. But what I was doing was getting them tired. You've got to get these animals tired or they can really hurt you.
The gator was large, aggressive, and had become used to people. So unfortunately, Dragich said he had to put it down. He harvested the gator. So he's not going to waste the meat. In fact,
what's that?
I was gonna say he goes and pulls on the gator's tail. He gets his juices flowing, then he goes home and plows his wife. It's a really good time.
Or the gator. Hey, they just saw him load the gator into a truck and take it home. He said he euthanized the gator.
That's right. He said he harvested it. But...
Yeah. He might have been
plans on maybe some sort of community cookout in Moncrief.
Oh, he's going to have a community cookout.
That's what I want. Some of that gator.
Dragich is an on-call gator trapper for Duval County, and as of late,
This here's Rocky.
I love how, I mean, this is like some real
brawler has gotten a lot of attention on
I love
social
it.
media, with millions of views on videos of him wrangling reptiles, animals he says he deeply respects.
You're trying to use this exposure for your charity. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Project Save Your Outdoors.
All
Our
right,
mission is
gay.
to fight PT.
This
That's
is
probably
some
actually
real
really good.
Florida man shit. Like they've got
Yeah.
videos of him playing with gators in his backyard.
He does like charity work for veterans stuff. You know, he's a veteran or what have you. If you couldn't tell by looking at him, he's a veteran. So he goes on to say that I'm calling it gay just because I'm a you know, you know how I am, but
$5 says
he probably
he's a
actually helps people.
$5 says he's a jarhead.
Yeah. No. Hey, like I've always said, I don't like the military, but we need Marines like to exist. Like I appreciate people like that existing. Totally. I'm not anti people in the military.
You should
Because
go
we need motherfuckers like that.
watch the live stream that I did with Don the Pleb and Remzo and Duke Chastain. It's today's regular episode of my show. We talked about like men in the military and how the military has become woke and gay, and how you fix that and like get back to manliness in the military. And it's just like them talking about like crazy shit when they were serving and stuff like that, and just like being dudes being dudes type of stuff, like that kind of that guy kind of stuff. Like,
well, yeah, and it's it's crazy because it's like it's easy to forget like how young everyone is in the fucking military, or the majority of like you go when you're fucking 19, 20, and I think about myself at that age, but totally different environment, the exact opposite environment of the military, and I'm just like, Jesus, what a fucking insane person I was, and fucking the insane shit I did. Imagine if it was in the situation of being in the military instead. Like, yeah, dude, I see drinking a lot and doing crazy shit, and I don't know, but totally different. Totally the opposite of what I was doing. Probably a lot less banging chicks in the military. But I don't know. I guess you have off time. And your off time, you're probably banging a lot of chicks.
I'd say apparently that uniform gets a lot of attention.
So that's the thing. You take the uniform into town, and you're good to go, you know. And especially in those, I think a lot of the towns and cities that like the bases are in, especially like the, you know, what is it's like, well, for Army anyhow, it's like Fort Denning or something in Georgia, and was it Paris Island for the Marines and this and that. Like I'm sure like in like the cities around there, you know, it's probably pretty easy. You probably got a lot because you got all the dependopotamuses who are just trying to fucking, you know, wrangle them a military man. So, you know, you have all them. Yeah, dude, I'm sure it's easy in the right instance. But if you're not on your fucking home training base, you know, once you're somewhere, and then again, it's probably really hit or miss too, dude, because you might just get something cushy like being stationed in Germany or something. You know, I've been seeing a lot of commercials trying to get women to join the Navy. And you know, it's just all chicks doing cool stuff. And this and that. I'm like, yeah, it's probably the least likely to get raped in the Navy.
I was gonna say probably the opposite. They're probably trying to get more chicks to join the Navy so the dudes will quit banging each other and start banging chicks. Like we got way too much butt sex going on. Like too many STDs going around. We need to more babies, less STDs.
But if they just accept that all the dudes in the Navy are going to be gay, then it's like, okay, this is perfect. So we can attract chicks who don't want to be raped. You know.
Did you see the?
But maybe you're right. I don't know. I guess we can't know what's going on in their heads.
Did you see where Navy put up like the Pride banner and then took it down like overnight, and instead they all of the armed forces are currently running no Pride shit on their Twitter, like profile pictures or banners or anything like that. Like everything's just like straight laced, even keeled. Do you think maybe they've realized that they're going to keep stoking the flames of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, or we're going to end up actually being in a legitimate war, and that doesn't play well if you just got a bunch of flamers running around? Like we need to start catering to the, like, you know, jarhead types, and a little bit less to the, because that was one of the things we talked about was like, you know, they're offered one of the big, you know, things is they offer to pay for college and this, that, and the other, and you got all these people that are coming in, especially the Alphabet Brigade that come into the military to become officers and do all of this stuff, and like they're not actually gonna fight anything, and like maybe we just need a few more like straight up crayon eaters that are ready to go, like crackheads, and shoot people. Like that's what's missing from the military, and that's why it's gone in the direction that it's gone.
When you need the hammer, it needs to be a fucking hammer, you know. Let's make that bitch a sledge.
That's right. It's
no dinky little rock hammer. What the fuck?
What was it they were talking about? Like some female that was in the service was one of them, like a medic or something, and they were having like rifle range training and stuff, and she was like, I'm not going to shoot anybody. I'm a conscientious objector. It's like, bitch, you joined the military. Like, your job is to shoot people. You might be a medic, so your job is to patch up some people after they get shot, but also, like, you got to be able to shoot back, because they're not going to stop shooting just because you're patching people up. Like, you need to know how to fire a gun. Like, if you went into this with any kind of an assumption that you were doing anything other than signing up to go kill people, you were wrong. That is the job. If
nothing else, you're directly aiding in people murdering people. Like, even if you're cooking the fucking food, you know, you're feeding the people who are going to do the killing, you know. So I can understand not wanting to be in like a support role, but not actually wanting to fight for a number of reasons besides cowardliness. I'm just kidding. I don't want to go to combat either. You know, but you know, that you wouldn't want to do, and maybe even like, oh, I don't really want to shoot somebody but still want to help. But you can't claim to be a conscientious objector and still, you know, want to join the military. You know, like, especially that term. Like that, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that means something pretty specific. You know what I mean? That. Oh, yeah.
Well, I bet you that the cooks have to take rifle range training too.
Oh yeah, they'll throw you right out there to do patrols if they want. It don't matter. You can think you're going in to be a cook. I think Wayne's got a buddy that was like that. He's like, oh yeah, no, you don't understand. I'm gonna be in the back, be in the rear with the gear. And it's like, yeah, okay, have you out of patrol in the first week, dude?
Like I got a friend that was in the Air Force for a while, and he was a linguist. So, like, there was effectively 0% chance that he would ever actually see combat, because like his entire job was to sit in a room with headphones and listen to conversations that were being had, and then tell them what, and tell other people what was being said. Like,
they want to keep him from getting shot as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
They need him for-
effectively 0% chance he's ever going to see combat. He still had to do, qualify at the rifle range. Like, you still got to know how to shoot a gun.
When you at least want to know, like, how, even if you never use it, would it be like, okay, this will at least be information. It's not going to hurt me to know this information, on how to simply operate the very basic level of firearm. It just seems like, if I had the option.
So I asked him, like, what kind of stuff do you do anything cool? He was like, no, I really just like translate bullshit all the time. He's like, I do have a friend that he like oversees the drone strikes. Like, he's listening to these like houses and buildings and stuff that they've that they're listening in on, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's the one. Blow that one up. It's like, that's a lot of responsibility.
That's a hell of a call to make, dude.
It's like, yep. That building, wipe that out. All right.
I'm envious.
And they did all that. They did that shit from Georgia. Like, it was somewhere in Georgia. Like, they're.
Oh, that's even better.
You're not even over there. Like, you literally get to you literally get to go to the Braves games on the weekend, and then spend your week sitting in a booth listening to people talk and deciding which ones are the ones that need to get drone bombed out of existence.
I'm envious of people who can make decisions like that. Like, I think about like I overthink a lot of stuff. I know I do, but it's like I think about like possibilities. Sometimes it can be hard to make the call. And sometimes it's like that's a big skill of somebody like, a CEO or some sort of leader. It's just, it may not necessarily having the confidence to make a call, even though like, you got 10 different options. It might not be the right call, but still having that confidence to do it. We talk about with being a surgeon or something, like I couldn't fuck up and then live with myself, you sort of a person. I wish I had a little more of that,
Get Dag sitting in the room. He's like, so, do we need to take that one out? I don't know. I might just be misunderstanding him. Let's listen to him for a little bit longer. And see what...
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly. Well, but what if? Okay, and we're sure that this is you're sure you labeled this wire right? This is house 7, not house 6, right? What if you mislabeled it? Double check. Don't blow the wrong house. Just even not necessarily when it comes to killing people or doing surgery, but just like I said, just. Sometimes it feels good to not be the man in charge. That's all I'm saying. I make a good number 2. I make a good advisory role. Let me give you a couple things to consider, and then you make the call. I'm good at that.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm like, all right, do that.
Yeah, well, that's why sometimes you need different. You can't have the same personality type all working together for certain purposes. Sometimes you need different personality types, because you might because I've done this like in working in the shop. It's like you got the guy who just wants to jump in and start building, but then he finds out he fucked up halfway through and has to start all over. And then you got people like me who stand there and look at it and make drawings for like 3 hours. And you need that dude to come yell at me and say, "Hey, start cutting a fucking piece of wood." And then you need me to say, wait a minute, dude, let's think about this for a second before we cut this fucking piece of wood, But the two of us together built really good stuff in a good amount of time, but either one of us had big problems. So sometimes, in an organization, you kind of need both, that's why an executive is a personality type.
And then, you also have the ones that play an equally valuable role because they're the reason that you have the training videos for what not to do. And that's all of the retards.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the the people. But the people are retarded.